are elastic tissue and
Because in the like outline for the notes, it has A, loose connective tissue, and then within that it has reticular tissue, elastic tissue, and mast cells, and then it has B, dense connective tissue.
and they are types of loose connective tissue, but they are a specific kind of loose connective tissue. So calling them loose connective tissue is incorrect because they do have elastic fibers associated with them. So they are a type, right? But be as specific as you can when you answer the questions, right? So in this particular tissue, these cells that secrete those elastic fibers are, because I would have to say to you, these cells secrete the elastic fibers in this tissue. What kind of cells are they? They're smooth muscle cells, all right? So in this particular elastic tissue where we can see we've got these little elastic fibers that are sitting in these long rows like this, we've got these very large cells with these very euchromatic nuclei in them. And I'm asking you what kind of cell is secreting this elastic tissue. In this particular tissue, this is a smooth muscle cell, all right? Now, if we're in the skin, which also has elastic fibers in it, what kind of cell is secreting the elastic fibers in the skin? As a wild guess. Fibroblast, okay? Your fibroblast is secreting elastic fibers.
Do you see any fibroblasts on this one?
Now, do I see fibroblasts in this? You don't see fibroblasts in the center here. Where we do see fibroblasts is if we go all the way out to the surface, and here we can start seeing some fibroblasts on the very outside surface. Right, so these long, very big cells in here, can you see how this cell is kind of sitting with its nucleus in the center of its cytoplasm here? This is a smooth muscle cell. Right? But that is only in this tissue where you can see these elastic fibers that I would ask you about those cells, because we have not yet done cardiovascular system. So for you to know that it's a smooth muscle cell secreting elastic fibers in a blood vessel of sorts, I don't expect you to know that at this stage. Okay. Now, that was about as tough as it could get because this is more likely what you would see in an exam.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
All right. Name this fiber. Elastic fiber. All right. But you figure if you can see it with H&E, you're going to be just hunky-dory fine when we look at it with the reticular stain.
Dr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Okay, I'm confused about the difference between the fibers and the tissue. So when you say elastic fiber and when you say elastic tissue?
Now, tissue is the overall tissue.
Okay.
All right. So elastic tissue, when you're looking at this, we can see has got elastic fibers in it. It's got smooth muscle cells in it. It's got those type 1 collagen fibers in it. It has a little fibroblasts all the way on the outside edge of it. All of that is part of the tissue.
Okay.
All right. The fiber is just one type of fiber. All right. So if I ask you for a fiber, I'm not asking you for a tissue. If I'm asking you for a tissue, I'm not asking you for a fiber. So if I say name this tissue, this is elastic tissue. If I said name the fiber at the pointer, elastic fiber. Okay, that's there. All right. So read the question carefully. If you're not sure that you're answering it right, you could always say this is an elastic fiber in elastic tissue. Okay, but again, be careful when you write essays that you don't take your correct answer and make it a wrong answer.
I have a question.
Yes.
So what type of collagen is you find predominantly the elastic?
So the question is what kind of collagen are we seeing usually in this elastic tissue? And it's going to be mostly type 1 collagen. I'm sure there are other types of collagens present, but predominantly type 1 collagen.
And then reticular is type 3?
Now, reticular fibers are type 3, okay?
She gets it normally.
Bone has a 1 in it, so it's type 1. Cartilage is cartilage. Okay. And then reticular is urethricular. I like it. I'm never gonna forget. Thank you, Caitlin.
All right, so let's get parse all the way down deeply into this, and I will say my pointer is pointing at a pale staining area. What does this area represent? Are we still answering this according to people down there, or everybody's ducking down behind the screen? All right, we want to start again this side then. So the question here is the top pointer, or the top little arrow in this pointer, is in a pale staining region. What does this region represent?
The cytoplasm of the fibroblast.
Cytoplasm of the fibroblast. All right? Because remember, here we've got a long skinny nucleus, so this is the nucleus of the fibroblast. This is not the whole cell. This is his cytoplasm that's sitting here. So what does that tell you about all this stuff? Is this stuff intracellular or extracellular? Extra, which means outside the cell. So this does not represent cell contents. This is extracellular matrix secreted out of these cells. All right? And because all these fibers are beautifully oriented in the same direction, name this tissue. Next one along.
Dense, regular, connective tissue.
Dense, regular connective tissue. Okay? If I said name this tissue, next person along there. It's fibrocartilage, okay? I've kind of stuck it in here with your connective tissues because differentially you need to be able to recognize the difference between the two. Looks like what? Dense, irregular connective tissue. Why are we saying this is fibrocartilage? Name the space. Lacuna, lacunae. All right. Name the cell. Chondrocyte. Okay. Name these fibers. Type 1 collagen fibers. All right. Does this tissue have type 2 collagen? Yes, amongst a lot of other things, but yes, type 2 collagen because it is a type of cartilage.
No, the collagen is type 2, not the chondrocyte. Okay, that's not right.
All right, so now if I took a big circle and I put a circle around here and I said name this tissue, unilocular, adipose, connective tissue. All right, so this is unilocular adipose tissue. All right. If I said name this cell, you're missing one of the terms. Unilocular adipocyte.